Good morning, Phocuswright. Good morning, Matt, and welcome.
Good morning.
We're delighted to have you back.
Thank you for having me back.
So let's get into this. This time last year, I think, was your first public appearance for Tripadvisor as CEO. So we could have called you somewhat of a newcomer when it comes to Tripadvisor. And it was early days, obviously, but what were the goals then that you've managed to tick off now, a year or so in?
Well, it's exciting to be back, and it has been a productive and exciting year at Tripadvisor. You know, I would say the first thing is last year we were talking about all of the foundational assets that we saw in the business and really framing the opportunity ahead. And so since then, we've been busily putting that together. You know, as a group, we are united around our common vision to be the most trusted source for travel and experiences. And we've got Tripadvisor and Viator and The Fork and Cruise Critic, all of which are pursuing that goal. And so when you have a very clear path that you want to go on, and you look at your business segment by segment and brand by brand and focus on what you want to do in each, you can really get a lot going. And let me just walk through each very quickly. At Tripadvisor, we are reimagining that platform as the world's leading travel guidance platform. And that starts with our products and the experience that we want to deliver to guide people both before a trip and in destination, leveraging data and thinking about how it manifests in all of our products, both online and mobile. And that will drive engagement. Engagement where we will lean into membership, into our app, into having people come direct and stay for longer, into products like our trip planning, itinerary builder, and how we think about our content. And if we get the engagement right, that will lead to a diverse set of monetization paths.
Okay, and we're going to get into monetization just in a sec.
I just want to talk about all three for a second, then we'll come back. We'll go to monetization when you want.
Yeah.
At Viator, we're doing something different. You know, at Viator, we are focused on market leadership in the experiences space. And so we are investing in awareness, our products, repeats, basically turning our unit economics into something where we can drive profitability. And at The Fork, of course, you know, we looked at that business and said, with the investments that we've made in the past, we can drive healthy growth and take that to profitability back end of this year and into next year by focusing on both sides of the marketplace. So I think it's product driven and it's balanced with an operating model that is driving better execution and highly effective product innovation.
Okay, so listen, Q3 results just out, and we won't talk too much about Viator because I know Ben Drew will be up on the stage later and we don't want to steal his thunder. But just draw out two elements. I think unit economics will be one of them because that's important, isn't it?
Well, unit economics is fundamental, right? You have to understand how you're going to make money in your business so that you can invest in it. And what we've seen there is really impressive repeat rates over time. And if you can stack up your repeat rates, what you can do is you can deliver improving unit economics over time. And we said in earnings that our most loyal customers are now our fastest growing, they spend the most, and they're the least costly for us to acquire. And so you're seeing them grow at 3.5 times our repeats than our new members. And if you can do that over time, you can build a business of scale that you can defend and ultimately take it to profitability. And that was the thing we said at earnings as well, was that we intend to have full year profitability in 2024.
So you do have these very separate entities in the across the organization, but you must want to bring up the other elements, you know, Tripadvisor Core, to be, you know, to be growing in the same way that Viator is growing.
Well, you know, it's interesting. We think about Tripadvisor and Viator and the way that they work together. If you can have an audience the size of Tripadvisor, a third of whom come to us for experiences. By the way, the other 2/3 come in equal proportion for hotels and dinings. That's a really nice balanced portfolio of travelers that are coming to us. But if you can get the two working together really effectively, Tripadvisor can be broad and guide a traveler to any kind of experience that they want to have, and Viator can be very deep. And already in 2023, we've introduced 30 million more travelers to bookable experiences that Viator can fulfill than the previous year. And for Tripadvisor, we can extend that into other categories, other geographies, and really drive a very nice growth revenue stream in the marketplace space, which together with media and meta makes that a balanced portfolio that can drive growth and profitability into the future.
You've introduced them, those many millions of people, how? In paid media? I mean, just...
No, it's because they're coming to Tripadvisor and they are discovering through our destination pages, through the discovery that they're doing on our site, and most recently with our trip planning tools. But we're leveraging content and finding that as we think about content, as we think about leveraging data and being better able to predict what they're coming for, we can expose them to the user journey that they want to be on. And in doing so, they will save more on our site. So we've seen 15% higher saves as we've rethought how we use content on our destination pages, the largest places like Paris and New York. And we've seen that flow through to introducing an experience and driving double-digit growth in experiences when we do those kinds of experiments.
And you believe that can be replicated in the other areas of the business?
Absolutely, yeah, that's what we're on the business and on the path of doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about monetization. You've always talked about the three-pronged strategy, the content, the community, partners. What you haven't perhaps mentioned recently is subscriptions, and I just wondered if there is any update there.
Yeah, so, I said, I think last year probably on this stage, but if not in other public remarks, I said that subscriptions, asking the consumer to pull out their wallet and put their credit card down for something new, could feel a little bit jarring for a brand and a site that didn't ask consumers to do that in the past. So while the value proposition there, which was largely around discounting, was a good value proposition, it didn't take off the way that maybe some had thought it could. And so we started to rethink, is that the right way to go? And I think what you'll see us do is lean into the highest value, most engaged consumers that we would like to see repeating and driving LTV, not because they're paying for something, but because they're engaging. And when they engage, we can take them on a journey that will drive our hotel meta business. We can take them on a journey that will drive brand marketing, both in endemic and non-endemic categories, and make that experience all that more rich. And of course, we can match supply and demand. So we are not leaning into the paid subscription proposition right now. In fact, we're going to deprioritize that as we figure out what we want to focus on. And we're going to think about membership, free membership. And today, we have 130 million free members that are actively participating in our community. And the idea is, how do we lean into that relationship, reward it, acknowledge it, really prioritize and help the members of the community that are contributing to show up more, and make membership something that people want to come back to. And that's something we will be leaning into.
But you are experimenting with loyalty around Viator. That's
yeah, I mean, Viator has done a great job on their product and their R&D. And they've been experimenting with a lot of different things. They've been focusing on search. They've been focusing on the app experience, the post-booking experience. And one of the things they realized is that loyalty can be something to drive ongoing repeat rates. And so they have experimented. They've seen some really positive results. And that's something that they're going to roll out over time. They've also been experimenting and driving incredible results on the other side of the marketplace with their operators in the Accelerate program, where they've seen more than half of the products opt in, with operators saying, we're willing to give more of our pay to get better exposure to that audience. And we're identifying ways, and I think going to roll out ways to boost that market by market and give more operators more exposure to the travelers they're looking for at the right times.
Okay, let's talk about marketing for a few minutes, because Google keeps evolving, updating. Lots of companies have said how challenging the environment is out there for search for paid marketing. What's your perspective on it?
Well, paid marketing will always be a part of our portfolio. And so the task is to understand how to be as effective as possible. I'm incredibly proud of the work the teams are doing on marketing, because they are so focused on the efficiency, on the ROAS, product by product, category by category, and really thinking about where they want to fit into the ecosystem, and then balancing performance marketing with brand marketing at Viator, and of course, the brand marketing at Viator, which is over the last year a new journey that we're on, really leaning into telling people about this category you didn't know existed, which is the ability to book experiences before you travel and while you're on your trip. Most people think that that category doesn't even exist. By raising awareness about that and by suggesting what Viator can do in that space, we are seeing brand health and direct traffic and brand search and use of the app all increasing. So that's done really well. So I think we're getting the balance right, and we've tried to be incredibly judicious about how we invest. Not spending money in ways that we want to sort of plop down like a drunken sailor and put it all in, but really thoughtfully, market by market, to get the results that we've been seeing. And I think the results speak for themselves.
So just maybe one follow-up on that. Despite the work that's going in and the brand marketing for Viator, the pressure does exist, and you must want to reduce your reliance on Google. I think it was 50% revenue share, 51% revenue share that goes into the marketing, sales and marketing. That must be a priority.
Well, I think every company in the world would like to reduce their dependence on any intermediary. And of course, Google is one of the most powerful companies in the world. And I think I tend not to talk about other companies in these kinds of forums, but Google has to be a company that you look at and you really confront the market power that they have and try to understand how can I differentiate from it. But I think with something like that, you also have to think about how do you engage someone like that and find the ways of partnering where you can combine your spend with really thoughtful ways to be in an ecosystem together, because I can assure you, Google is going to be focused on the regulatory scrutiny that they're getting, and they want to think about how to make partners incredibly valuable. And we're having conversations now around generative AI and how the ecosystem's likely to change, and how companies like Tripadvisor, with a great brand, a content asset that's very valuable, and the audience that we have, how can we be a company of provenance that Google can rely on as a source of trust as they think about how that ecosystem is going to change? And those kinds of conversations are valuable.
And as Google, develops its own ecosystem, you've said in the past that you'd like Tripadvisor app to be the go-to in destination, but clearly Google and Google Maps particularly is also evolving. So how does that bring pressure?
Not pressure, opportunity to think about how can our app differentiate. And we are just starting to lean into the app. When we did our generative AI trip planning tool and saw such incredible results, right? We saw fantastic uptake, more people signing in to be a member, more people filling out our prompts to get to the point at which an itinerary is generated, leveraging our data. We're seeing engagement and monetization come out of that. That is just going to go into our app. And we're doing that this quarter. And the app will start to be the kind of companion that if you're thinking about travel, it's the kind of thing you want to have that you can bring up very quickly. If you're in destination and the weather's different than you expected in a day, you can figure out the things around you that you want to do today and make it happen very quickly. So we think there are a lot of opportunities to lean into the app category by category and really drive differentiation there.
So that idea, you mentioned your trip planning app there and some of the results you're seeing. That idea of people who build an itinerary actually come back within 7 days, it encourages this repeat business. How then can you, to use your terminology, lean into that and get more people to build an itinerary?
Well, we've seen terrific uptake. In a very short beta period, we've seen many hundreds of thousands of itineraries created. And what we've seen is when an itinerary is created or started, people come back that 7 days, and that extends for the month, so you're seeing higher levels of repeat. We're also seeing that those itinerary builders are monetizing at 3 times the level of other members and 30 times the level of the average user. So we know we can use this to drive ARPU up. And as I said, our strategy is all about innovating around products that drive guidance and leverage our unique assets, our proprietary first-party data, all of the things that we understand behaviorally because of the size of our audience, that lean into our trusted brand and that make the best use of the billion reviews that we have on the platform. And so that will drive, we think, an opportunity to drive engagement and the monetization that we just talked about.
And just to come back, what then can you do? Can you tweak, think around itinerary planner, around trip planner to make more people build those itineraries? Absolutely.
We haven't even started. It's been in beta. It's been in early beta. We haven't even started product marketing. We haven't fully integrated it into the site.
Right.
We're going to add bookable opportunities in each category, hotels, experiences, and beyond. So we are just getting started. One thing I wanted to say about generative AI, which is, when OpenAI announced ChatGPT, and we got asked very early what we thought, we said back then that it's going to change every industry in the world, and every company is going to have to figure out its own strategy. But I also said, just like other disruptive technologies we've seen in the past, you will see an incredible hype cycle early, And then you may see people underestimate the long-term
Sure.
impact. And what I said to the team back then was, don't worry about being first. Don't worry about getting the early headlines. Let's do what's right for our traveler, our consumer, and get it to be a differentiated experience. And that's what I think people have noticed, is that we've done it slightly differently than others have.
So
and we're getting good response from that.
So the other element and the other initiative you've been working on with Gen AI is the pages, the combining curated content and community. So just give us a feel for how they've been working.
Yeah, so we are leveraging generative AI with our content to ensure that we can both synthesize the incredible vast amount of content data that we have on our site, but also, importantly, to be able to dive deep into what matters to a consumer. So because we understand who our members are, and we have identity signals, and we understand what's important to average travelers, in addition to the synthesis, we can suggest areas that might be interesting to you, for example, with hotels. So I think I've said in the past, boom, sorry. I've said in the past, the most important thing to me is a good night's sleep in a hotel. I want to know that it's going to be quiet. And by the way, I had a great room here with a terrific view, but man, that air conditioning was loud. Yeah. That's something I would have wanted to know.
Yeah.
And so now you can go into the actual user reviews from people who have actually been there to see the actual source data that is creating that synthesis. And I think that's a strength that we have. And what we're seeing with that, we can apply that to our hotels, we can apply that to experiences in restaurants, we can apply it, frankly, to anything in the travel experience and really give a different content experience that creates the right context as we think about personalizing for the traveler.
And should we, given OpenAI's announcement earlier, well, actually last week, the idea of co-pilots, that must be a direction you're thinking, that must be an opportunity.
I mean, of course, the idea that you can have an app in your pocket that can easily be there to give you an idea of what's around you, the kinds of things you might be interested in, is very powerful. And that's an ecosystem we're leaning into. For generative AI, we've been doing AI ML for a long time, thanks to my predecessors. The way I think about it is in 3 ways. Number 1, you've got to think about how it's going to enhance your product experience. Number 2, you got to think about how you can drive higher levels of productivity. And number 3, you need to think about what partners you want to have. And so we're active in the partner ecosystem, both who we want to lean into and who we may choose to block. We're active in thinking about how to be more productive, thinking about trust and safety, and how we can do an even better job in our market-leading position there. We're thinking about how to drive engineering productivity, but we're leaning into sales and marketing opportunities. Frankly, anywhere that you have a function, you can be more productive with generative AI. And then finally, we're leaning into how it's going to be fundamental to our product, and we are organizing ourselves to deliver on that. Okay,
so very briefly, because that was our first gong, travel demand still seems to be booming. Any signs of softening? How do you think Tripadvisor's position, given that we don't really know what's going to happen?
Yeah, so we just announced at earnings that we had a terrific quarter, and we are seeing durable demand in travel. Of course, there were some gyrations in October, and we saw that. That's not unusual when you see conflict, extreme weather, natural disaster. You will see an impact on intent and even the experiences bookings and cancellations, but that seemed to come back and stabilize the back half of October. I think this experiences focus for travel is a real trend. It is a durable trend. Experiences is at the heart of it. It's what I want to get out of a travel opportunity on the leisure side. And so the way that we are positioned to deliver on that puts us into a very strong position. And I'll tell you what, when we talk to travelers, we've heard that 2/3 value experiences more than ever before, especially in the younger generations. 3/4 will prioritize travel no matter what happens externally, and there's a lot of economic cross-currents right now. And 95% say, as I think I heard early this morning, they will prioritize the travel experience above and beyond any other discretionary spend. So I think if you look in the long term, travel will continue to grow, and we'll be there facilitating it for as many as we can.
Well, Matt, thank you for your time. Thanks for being here.
Good to be with you.